Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the what? So your faith is not going to grow without the what? Without the Word of God. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the Word of God. That's why I remember the message on why in a Sam Hill do we show up here on Sunday? What do we do it for?
Hear the Word of God.
I mean, what do we do it for? What is all this for? I had a 3-week message on why we come to church. Gave you the reasons why we come to church. And based on what my feedback from several of you wonderful people is, God showed you something. He showed me a lot of things. I'll tell you that. Showed me a lot of things. All right, today, turn your Bibles to the book of 1 Samuel. We started there the last 3 weeks. I've got you in a cave. You're in a cave. I hope to try to get you out of that cave. David certainly went into the cave, and he eventually came out. He had a lot of friends, if you remember, came over to that cave to encourage poor old David. And that's what we can do. That's what you can do, and I can do. We can go to somebody when they fall into that old cave and they get down for the count. We can go to those individuals and put your arm around them and pat them on the back and just tell them you're there to help, there to help. 1 Samuel 22 and verse number 1. Let's all stand in reverence to God's holy word. And David therefore departed thence and escaped to the cave Adullam, and when his brethren and all his father's house heard it, they went down thither to him. And everyone that was in distress, now I'll look at this company of people, And everyone that was in distress, well, there's a bunch of them, they went. Everyone that was in debt, and that takes a whole lot of people there in debt. And everyone that was discontented. Now, folks, there's a lot of people get discontented in this world. They gathered themselves unto him, and he became a captain over them. And there were with him about 400 men. Now I want you to look at that group. That was a group was in debt, they were in distress, and they were discontented, and David was their leader. And he was hiding in a cave. This is the king. This is the king. He left the castle and went to a cave. Verse number 3, and David went thence to Mizpah of Moab, and he said unto the king of Moab, let my father and my mother, I pray thee, come forth and be with you till I know what God will do for me. And he brought them before the king of Moab, and they dwelt with him all the while that David was in the hold. All the time, David was in the cave. May God bless the reading of His holy word. And all of God's children said, Amen. Let's get out of the cave. I hope I can get you out of the cave today. Poor old David's in the cave, and he eventually got out. I hope that maybe if you're in a cave today, the purpose of all these messages is to help and encourage and uplift. People go through times of trouble. People go through times of heartache, sorrow, trials, tribulations. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, thou art with me. How many of y'all know the Lord is with you? Say amen. Amen. He's with you. He was with David right there. He was with David right there. Think about the same is true in our lives a lot of time. To teach us what has happened to David, this is to teach us to look to who?
The Lord.
Everything that happened to David was teaching him to look what? To God. Everything in the cave experience in your life is teaching you to what? Look to God. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall what? Direct your path. And then drop down there about 4 verses, and it says, "Then shalt thou walk in thy way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble, for the Lord shall be thy" what? Y'all didn't memorize all of it. "Thy confidence." Memorize it all. "Thy confidence." How many of y'all are memorizing the Bible? Say amen.
Amen.
One person. And I knew she was. I knew she was. I want you to memorize this book. You say, "Pastor, the whole book?" I want you to get started. You say, "I may never do it." That's okay. Start memorizing this book. It'll be astounding what will happen in your life. I'm just telling you, it'll be astounding. You can be in any situation, and all of a sudden God will say, "Use this verse right here." You'll be astounded. You'll be astounded. This is to teach you and me. This cave experience is teaching you and me to look to Him alone. The Lord uses the hardships of life, the things in life that we don't understand, the cave experience that we're in right now. You're either in it, coming out of it, or what? Or getting ready. That's the way life is. That's the way life is. These mountaintop experiences, folks, they don't last what? They don't last long. Now you're up there. Now think about that for just a moment. You're on the mountaintop and you're standing there. What do you see? Everything around you, folks. It's coming. It's coming. God does not do this to break you. Now, are you listening? God does not do this to break us. He does it to build us. He wants to build you up. And folks, I tell you, there's some things that had to be broken in my life. Yeah, I had to be broken. I had to be broken. And think about this for just a moment. Think about this. Jesus was never really used until He was what?
On the cross.
Broken. Remember the song, "Broken and what? Spilled out." Broken and spilled out for you. These times of breaking up and tearing down often come before the times of building up. That's what happened. God will allow these things to happen. God will allow certain things to happen. It's just that I used this last week, and I don't have anything any better to use today. Poor old Job. Poor old Job. What he went through. What a cave. No human being has ever had such a cave. Except Jesus. Jesus was God, but He was human. Jesus is God, not was, is God. But He became human, He became flesh. So that, you know, if you and I were standing over a big anthill, I don't know what it is, but it seems to me like this year, I've never seen the like of ants outside. Have y'all been out in your yard and looked around? I've never seen the like of ants in all my born days. But if you and I got down on the ground and we got down next to this ant hill that pile up just like this, and we got down and we started observing and watching those ants, and it doesn't look like there's any bosses at all. No bosses at all. Everybody's just busy, and they're scurrying around, and they're getting all their stuff done, and everything's working for the sole purpose of the colony. The sole purpose. But in order for you and I to know exactly how the ant feels, we'd have to become what? An ant. Jesus. In order to know exactly what you and I feel, and you and I go through. He came into this world. He took on a body of flesh to experience firsthand exactly what you have to go through. He suffered it all.
Amen.
There's nothing that you don't go through that He has not suffered first. You say, Pastor, but Pastor, you don't understand what they've done to me, Pastor. Pastor, you don't understand what's going on. I don't have to understand. God knows what's going on in your life. And He's going to get you through it. Now, folks, y'all have been through, down for the count, and look at you today. God brought you what?
Here.
He brought you through it. He brought you through it. He got you right out of it. Oh, it was a mess. And I'll tell you what you've said, and I've said it. Oh God, if you'll get me out of this mess, I'll never what?
I'll never do it again.
My poor, pitiful life. My poor, pitiful life. It absolutely. I know that the things that I've done in my life before I got saved, they're under the blood and they're gone. I know that. I know. But folks, I want to tell you what concerns me. I got saved 34 years ago. What concerns me today are the things that have happened in these 34 years. That concerns me. Yes, I put it under the blood. Yes, I'm washed white as snow. I know all that. But folks, one day, I've got to stand before God and give an account.
Amen.
For every idle thought that's gone through this poor, pitiful brain. That concerns me. And then I read books. My sister gave me a book about this poor Chinese missionary. And the things that he's had to go through to suffer. We don't have a clue about these poor people. Christians around the world, how they're dying for Jesus and living in slums and folks, they would give their life for one scrap of a page of John chapter 13, verses 7 through 9. And we got Bibles all over our house and don't even read them.
Right.
Most homes will have 4, 5, 6, 8, or 10 Bibles. And most of them are never read. How many hours this week did you read your Bible? How many hours? Did you read it 10 hours? 5? 3? 2? Revelation chapter 1 says, "Blessed is he that readeth." The only thing I knew the other day when I was in your mother's room, sister, I just got the Bible out. There's a Bible, Gideons. Thank God for the Gideons. Thank God for the Gideons.
Amen.
Thank God for the Gideons. Thank God for the Gideons. And my bride was in there, and it was quiet, and I just took the Bible and opened it up and just started reading over her mother. I don't know anything any better. If I'm in the hospital and I'm down for the count, I'll ask every one of you to come to the hospital and do one thing. Get a Bible and just read over the preacher. Just read over it. Will you do that? Say amen.
Amen.
All right. And then another thing, I want to bring this up again. As time goes on and I get older, I'm getting older. And getting down there and getting up is not as easy as it was 20 years ago. So when I get to the point, Stuart, you and Jim Oaks and Mark, you younger guys, come up here and help the preacher up. Will you do that? Say amen.
Amen.
All right. All right. The times of breaking up, the times of testing, God will put you through a test. How many of you all know God will test you? Say amen.
Amen.
You better get ready. Today, leave here today and make this statement. I'm going to live for Jesus this week. Get ready. Get ready. There'll be a time of testing. And it'll start soon. And I promise you the devil will come in there. How many of y'all know that? Say amen.
Amen.
He'll test you. He'll rattle your chain too. And oh by the way, so that you know this, the devil knows exactly what it is that tempts you. Exactly. So be careful. Be real careful. The times of the breaking up and the tearing down often come before the times of building up. Yes, they do. Hebrews chapter 12. Turn to Hebrews chapter 12, and I'll show you about what God will do, because He's our Father. He is our Father. And I remember my father loved me. My father loved me. And my father used to absolutely take a belt to me and wear me out. Hey, I want to tell y'all something today. My dad, if he was alive today, and my football coach, if he was alive today, if they were both alive, and my dad was to be able to exact a corporal punishment on me as a little kid that he did all those years ago, and my football coach do what he did to us all those years ago, do you know what they would do to them today? What would they do to them today? They would put them in jail and throw away the key. But I say, thank God for my daddy. Thank God for my football coach.
Amen.
And everybody in this room, Elder Tucker and Brother Gary Scarborough, that lived back in the times when I was growing up, and Mr. Baker and Mr. Simpkins and Brother Joe King and lived back and Brother Jay lived back in those times. You know what the preacher's talking about. You saw it. And we're in a mess today in this country. We're in a mess. Because there's no respect whatsoever for authority.
That's right.
It's gone. Moms and dads will tell their kids, do this and do that, and the kid will turn around and say, shut up! Shut up! Now, Hilda, if any of your kids ever do that, the next thing that comes out of their mouth ought to be their tongue flopping that way.
Amen.
And that's the truth. My mother would have killed me if I'd have sized her. Not my dad, my mother. Hey, Hey, I remember growing up. I remember. Hey, we had total respect for our mom and dad. Why? Because, oh, I saw your dad the other day down at the restaurant, talking to him. Yeah, we have total respect for our dad and our mom. How many of y'all had respect for your mom and dad? Say amen. Amen. Oh, yeah. 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 Gary, I remember Edward. I remember Edward. Yeah. Yeah. And your mother, too? Yeah. Yeah, we had respect for them. Sure did. Sure did. Not today. Not today. And you can see, hey, I'll challenge you. You go to Walmart this afternoon and go in there for 1 hour and go around that Walmart and you'll see it. You'll see it. Or some of them kids, I'd like to jerk them up with a nap in the neck and take them to the bathroom and bend them over that thing in there and just wear them out. That's what they need. I'll delete that before we put that on the internet. Oh yeah, you're exactly right. That's somebody see that and they'll come and close us up. Amen. Hear that baby saying amen? Don't you just love them babies being in here? I just love them babies being in here. Yeah, we don't want to take children and stick them over in a nursery. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Now, what moms and dads can do is take them out for 5 minutes and then bring them back if they don't do what they're supposed to do. So, but we love children in here. Times of breaking up and tearing down often come before times of building up. Hebrews chapter 12. And let's start reading in verse number 5. Hebrews 12 and in verse number 5. And you have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not now the chastening of the Lord. Now folks, remember this. You're going to be going through something. You're going to be going through a tough time. And God says, don't despise the chastening, nor faint when thou art rebuked of Him. Now folks, have you ever been rebuked by the Lord?
Amen.
Has anybody in this room ever been rebuked by the Lord? I have. Yeah. Yeah. So what does he say? Don't faint. Yeah, it's like fainting. It's like you want to crawl under a what? A rock somewhere. Yeah, that's what you want to do. And I'll tell you, and my bride will tell you the same thing about me, and anybody that knows me, there's times I just want to get down on the floor and stick my nose as far in the carpet. I'm so unworthy. I don't know why in the world He picked me. I don't know. Verse number 6. For whom the Lord loveth, He chasteneth. For whom the Lord loveth, He what? If you don't love your children, you won't what? You won't chasten them. You won't chasten them. If you don't love your children, you just let them go. You just let them go. You just turn them loose. But if you love them, I remember my dad would say, hit them steps. I remember there was 13 steps up to my bedroom. 13 steps. I would take every one of them, go up them steps. He'd clear them in 3 steps. Clear them. And the whole way up that step, I could hear the popping of the loops where the belt was coming out. Popping of the loops where he pulled that belt that wide. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If you endure, verse number 7, if you endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. If you'll endure it, God will deal with you as a son. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? In other words, if you're not being chastened by God, you're not his what? You're not his son. But if you be without chastisement, whereof are partakers, then are you illegitimate. Now, I know what the King James Bible says. I'm reading it. But I don't want to give any young person the opportunity to say, or anybody to say this word in public. You just don't want to do that. But if you be without chastisement, whereof are all partakers, then are you illegitimate and not sons. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and they did, and they need to today, and we gave them reverence. Man, I'm telling you, did we ever reverence our father? My father said, jump! And what did I say? How high?
On the way up.
How high? What do you want me to do? I'll do anything you want me to do. And I'll never forget my dad, and God does the same thing. God does the same thing. I'll never forget my dad after he'd whipped me. He'd whip me, and you know what he would say after it's all over with? How many of y'all, just don't say it, just raise your hand. How many of y'all remember what your dad said or your mom said after they did it? Raise your hand. How many of y'all remember what they said? Now, Brenda, your daddy, he wouldn't do nothing to Brenda. Hey, her daddy was tough. Her daddy was tough when he needed to be, but he was a sweetheart most of the time. My daddy would say, he'd say, now, son, this hurt me more than it did you.
Amen.
And I had the whelps all up and down my leg. And he said it hurt. I never did understand it until I got 5 girls. 5 girls. Oh yeah, 5 girls. 5 girls. Did you whip those 5 girls? Oh yes. Yep. Did it do any good? Yep. Yep. They reverenced their father. Yep. And I reverenced my father. Yep. And then I don't know what it was about ice cream unless my dad just loved it. I liked it. But he would throw me in the truck. We'd go ride down to Bird's Drive in Dixie Lee Junction, and he'd get me an ice cream cone or something. Do something. Do something. Something. And God does the same thing. Let's read right here. Let's read right here. Verse 9, furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Oh yeah. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits, talking about God, and live? Do you want to live? Now I'm going to tell you what I've seen with my own eyeballs. I have worked with certain individuals, and I've counseled with certain individuals, and get them out of the hog pen slop and all, and get them on the right path. Get them going right. And tell them what's fixing to happen if they don't stay on the straight and narrow. And 2 or 3 months goes by, and where do you find them? Right back in the hog pen, slop, and all. And I watched one individual. I said, brother, you're on dangerous ground. You're on dangerous ground. And it wasn't a year. Do you know what happened to him? God took him home. Took him home. I've seen another individual come in here many years ago, sit back there on that back pew. I saw him come in here and cause all kinds of trouble.